Hey there hippies, it's your girl Courtney Shavante, and I am back with another bangin' Cannabling Ashtray tutorial. You guys asked and I answered, so I can't wait to get started. But before we do, you know the drill. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button for me if you're new here, and also hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss anything that I do put out for you guys moving forward. Alright, so of course you know the drill. We're going to start with some little 3D charms. These both of these styles are available on my Etsy store. These are the gold guns and also the gold skulls. I will be adding a bit of resin into the rim of my ashtray mold, and then just go ahead and maybe about 20 milliliters or so. You don't need much, you just need a nice little thin layer so that way you can just seal in those charms that we're going to be adding. So I take my popsicle stick and kind of go around a bit to make sure that the resin is touching every little part, and I also want to make sure that I release any bubbles that may get trapped in those tiny little spaces and everything. So from here, you're just going to use a pair of tweezers, and you can just drop these charms right into the resin face down. I'll be putting them at the tips of the leaves just for a little bit of dramatic flair. You know, that's where I usually place them. And I'm going to be adding the gold guns, the pistols. I'm going to be adding those to where the little dips are in the ashtray where you would place your cigar and everything. So yeah, go ahead and do that face down, and then make sure you do keep everything adjusted. You can use a toothpick to keep everything in place and move everything as you see fit. And then from there, you know, just make sure you have the amount of resin that you need. Spray it down with some alcohol and let that stand. After it's had a chance to cure, you're going to go ahead and whip up a little bit more resin. Now in this step, I believe I think I made 80 milliliters of the resin. I don't want to lie, but I didn't keep track this time. So yeah, but mix up that 80 and then mix in your glitter mix, and then get that mixed up really good and try to get those bubbles out if you can. And then from there, you're just going to go ahead and pour this mixture into the tray. And you want to aim for the rim portion of the tray, of the ashtray, so that way, you know, it just makes cleanup easier later, because if residue gets onto that little bottom part, then it's going to kind of disrupt the effect and the design that we're going to be doing later. So you just kind of want to make sure that the base is clear, so that way, you know, all the color that we put in later on the next step will show. Make sure you scrape that cup and, you know, get all that glitter out. If you're really liking my glitter mixes, these are also available in my Etsy shop, which is linked below for you guys. And there's also a discount code down there, so make sure you check that out as well in the caption. Take that toothpick, drag it around, touch each and every little part, and then remove those trapped bubbles, and then you're going to let that stand. Alright, so once that's had a chance to cure, it's time for the fun color part. So we are going to be prepping 4 different colors in 4 different cups. This first one is going to be a pink. The second one is going to be a green. I also have an orange and a blue. And what you see me doing is I'm just adding in the resin into the cups where I already had the powders in there. And then I'm just going to mix it up really well. I only fill the cup up halfway, just so that way it makes it easier just to mix everything in and, you know, get everything mixed thoroughly. And then I come in with a little bit more resin later, so that way I can actually fill the cups up without having to worry about trying to mix the colors well and it sloshing over the sides. Y'all know all that mess. If you are you know, kind of experienced in this and everything, you know, it can get kind of messy. So this is the part where I'm going to go ahead and just add in that remaining resin that I do have left over in my cup. I believe I made, how much did I make for this? I made 250 milliliters for this step. Now I did not use all of it, so yeah, keep that in mind. You probably only really needed about 200. So yeah, but what I'm doing now is I'm just adding in a couple drops of alcohol ink, maybe about 3-4 drops each in each cup, and I'm just coordinating it with the color that's already in there and mixing it in so I can make sure it's nice and vibrant with a very beautiful hue. And I love how metallic and glowy these look. It's so fetch. I love saying that, so you're gonna catch me saying all kinds of Mean Girl references if you're actually listening. Do y'all be listening to me on here? Like, y'all hear me or nah? Or nah? Anyway, so yeah, go ahead and remove that excess. Remember the last step I was telling you don't want that? I was removing the glitter that did spill onto the base because I don't want it to affect the outcome. So do get that cleaned up and then go ahead and start pouring your colors in. Just kind of doing it randomly, and I'm working in like kind of spurts at a time. I'm just pouring it in wherever I want to and how much of whatever I want to. I'm just like, you know, doing whatever I want here, and that's what I suggest you guys do as well. As you can see, I have some resin left over and everything. I'm also putting a popsicle stick underneath just to make sure it's even, because this part of my table is a little uneven, and I'm going to allow that to cure. Once it's had a chance to cure, and I'm going to go ahead and wiggle this from the mold. So remember, I put that poll up and let you guys vote on whether you want a Cannabling Ashtray or some dominoes. Well, the dominoes are currently in the back side eyeing y'all because they're like, so what's up with that? Really though? But I told them that their time is coming and you guys are going to appreciate them just as much, so make sure you look out for that video coming too. But yeah, just go ahead and pull the edges of this mold and everything and get that tray release. Do be careful because the edges can get really sharp and you do not want to cut your fingers. Go ahead and pull up each edge, and then once you got enough of the sides pulled up, you'll be able to pull the entire mold out and release the ashtray. This is how it looks right here. Beautiful, darling, beautiful. So let's go ahead and move on to our next step. Sand down your edges, and then we are going to be adding a design. This is some nail like a nail strip. I'm not exactly sure what this is called, but I will link it below for you guys so that way you know, you'll know what to look for and everything. So just look in the caption. And what I'm doing is I'm just using this like this pattern black tape here. This is like just a metallic black that I'm using, and I'm just adding a line, and I'm using a toothpick to kind of help press that into place as well as I go. Now it's pretty forgiving, so you know, if you don't have the lines exactly where you want them, it is easy to pull it up and readjust, and you don't need a whole lot. You can add as many or as much as you like. I'm going to show you guys how to do another line right quick. However, this is very tedious, so I did move off camera to go ahead and complete, because you can see how I'm like getting all underneath the camera. It is just really hard to kind of do this on here, so yeah, just keep following the steps that I'm doing and just do whatever pattern you like, and you'll be able to see the completed pattern in just a moment. Okay, hippie, so that was my very first time doing something like this, and it definitely tested my patience. However, I think it turned out beautifully, so I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up with a little bit of alcohol, so that way when I add in my paint, there is no reaction and I don't have any issues with drying time. I am using this Pabeo acrylic outliner paint. Oh, excuse me. And I do recommend this one because it has some texture to it and it gives it a more 3D appearance, because we're going to be adding dots in between these little double lines and everything. And it's going to create that little studded effect and everything that I was doing. And I just really fell in love with this. This is something I just kind of created on the go. I've been going through a lot of emotions lately. So yeah, this is like just me kind of translating it and doing the best I can with that. But I really love how this turned out and everything. I'm just adding these dots. You do not need to add a lot of pressure or a whole lot. These lines are pretty thin and it's going to create a nice, beautiful effect, and it's to die for. It looks like it's so much more complicated than it actually is, and it's not super complicated. It's tedious, but it's not complicated. So yeah, this is just yet another thing that I've introduced you guys to. So if you see anyone you know, doing this design, know you saw it here first, because no one's ever brought this out on a resin ashtray. I've looked. But yeah, so this is what it's going to look like, and you're going to let that dry completely. Once that paint is completely dry, of course, you're just going to mix up a little bit of resin, and then you're going to add that to the base of your tray. I'm just going to kind of pour over and everything and use my stir stick to kind of push this around a bit. And then you see me actually pick up the ashtray and just like kind of let it move and wiggle itself around. This is a great method if you do not have a heat gun. It may still take a little bit of time and everything, but it's a nice way to, you know, kind of make sure you get an even coat all around. Now, if you do have a heat gun, this is where we're going to go ahead and bring that out, and you're going to continue thinning this out and making sure that it bursts any bubbles, and it's just going to help create a nice even effect. So, you know, if you don't have a heat gun, cool, but if you can get one, definitely invest in one. They're about $15-20 on Amazon, and I have one linked below for you as well. Add in resin to any places that you feel may be a little sparse, and then go in with the heat gun if necessary. Spray a bit of alcohol to burst any bubbles that may come to the surface on you, and then we're going to allow this some time to completely cure. Alright hippies, so this is our glow show. She is so beautiful. I love how she looks in the dark, and this video really doesn't do it justice of how well this shines up in the light, and that's because it's recorded on iPhone 8 Plus, because my personal phone is full. So yeah, I'm working on that. I'm gonna work through that. But moving on, this is what she looks like in the light, and yes, she is just as stunning. Like, look at her. She is so shiny and she is so beautiful. I love how this black rim really complements how vibrant this base is. I love how the little skulls look in the tips of the flowers and everything. Like, it's just so gorgeous. I love how the guns look in the little dip. It's kind of hard to see on here due to the curve in the dip, but they look absolutely amazing. I love how this pattern turned out. Like, I am definitely going to be bringing these nail tape strips into a lot more tutorials, so definitely look out for that. I love this ashtray. I might end up keeping it for myself, so it may not go up for sale. But if you love this ashtray as much as I do, hippies, make sure you leave me a like or a comment, something like that. I love hearing from you guys, and the comments are coming in faster, so I am trying to get back to everyone, but I see you all. I love you all, and I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for your support, and until next time, hippies, XO. Mwah.